2 of 29 Days of Love. So today I am exclusively going live in Finding Forever Love Facebook group. And so we're bringing it in, right? We're honing it in. This is for members of Finding Forever Love. I'm not sure what's happening here, but it is a hot mess. Okay. I'm excited to talk to you today about our love stories. So here we are, day 2, Finding Forever Love. Yesterday, I spoke about what is love. I'm going to talk to you more throughout the 29 days about the 5 pillars of love. And I want to just touch on them right now. So, the 5 pillars, one is understanding. It's understanding what love really is. And we covered that yesterday. The second is clarity. You've got to know what you really want. We can't move or hit a moving target. So we've got to know what it is that we really, really want in this life, when it comes to love, in all areas of our lives. 3 is falling in love. Falling in love with yourself first, with your life, with love itself, and then ultimately a partner, if that's what you desire. 4 is create. It is learning how to create a life that you absolutely love. And that leads to number 5, which is attract. And you will attract all manner of abundance into your life when all of these are in place. So during the next 29 days, we are going to go deeper into all of these pillars so that you have a deep understanding of how do you go about doing this. And today we're going to talk about your love story. And this is so important because when I talk about love stories, when I first meet with a client, my first question is, tell me your love story. Tell me your love story. Most people will lead with their romantic history, and they'll start talking to me about their exes, their first love, their first kiss. It's a romantic history is what they go through. But what I'm talking about is I want to know what you feel and think and believe about love itself. And this starts when we are children, sometimes infants. For me, it started in the womb, believe it or not. And so I touched on this yesterday. We learn about love from what we witness, what we see, what we're told, what we hear, and what we feel, what we experience about love. And those become the foundation for our love stories. Those are the stories that we tell ourselves about love. So from a very young, tender age, we form opinions and beliefs and write our own love story. For me, I'll share a story with you. So I was adopted when I was 3 months old. And I did find my biological family, and I got my history about a little over 10 years ago. So I was in my late 40s when this happened. And the story that I found out and discovered was that my biological mom was not in a relationship with my biological dad. We were probably a little bar hookup or something like that, one night stand. But she did know enough about him to know his last name because she put it on my birth certificate, which is what enabled me to find them. And she hid her entire pregnancy with me from her whole family. She had 2 kids, 5 and 7. She had a husband she was separated from. She was able to successfully hide her entire pregnancy. And then she put me up for adoption with no one the wiser. She never told my dad that I existed. But I want you to think energetics when we're creating a love story here. So energetically, if anyone is a parent here, you know what we do normally when we're pregnant. We sing to the baby, we touch the baby, we talk to the baby, we coo to the baby, we plan for the baby. And that component was missing. So developing energetically, there was a sense of shame, a sense of unworthiness, unwantedness, not lovable. Then, immediately upon birth, to be taken from the only source of familiar that I've ever known, which would have been like the heartbeat, the sound of her voice, and taken from that, and then not adopted until I was 3 months old. This is really key because it talks about bonding. Because wherever I was, I'm sure there was love and care, maybe a foster home. But for me to bond and have that love and care and then have it separated, taken from me, and put into a new home at 3 months, each major milestone, birth, and then in a foster home, and then adopted, came with a separation. And I had no idea until I was way older and started doing some deep work that this was part of my love story. What I did know is that I had an anxious attachment style, and I knew I was like definitely like deathly afraid of rejection and abandonment. Like my core was, if you reject me or abandon me, I'll die. And for an infant, that could be true. But I held on to that in a cellular memory. And I wasn't consciously aware of why I felt that way, but I knew that I did. And then, in my home that I was adopted into, my parents were provisional. They showed love. I'm sure their love languages were acts of service. They showed by being provisional. I never heard the words, I love you. Never, not growing up. I never saw my parents like with physical affection. I think in 64 years of marriage, they kissed one time in front of me and it was a peck kiss. So again, I'm layering here like an onion. You can see how my love story was created. And you have a love story too. So all of this love story was created that said, I'm not lovable, I'm not chosen, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. If I do anything wrong, I'm going to be cast out, rejected, abandoned, and I could die. This is a terrible love story. It's a terrible love story. And then I took that into my partners, into romantic love. And that creates an anxious attachment style where I have got to have you love me no matter what. So I became a master chameleon of being able to transform into anything that a potential mate needed me to be in order to have them love me. Because that meant security, being chosen, being loved. This is very much an idea that says that love is something outside of me, out there, that I'm going to get if I'm good enough, if I'm lovable, if I'm enough. And I have to do things to make sure that I'm constantly stay good enough. Otherwise, what'll happen? You stop loving me, you reject me, you'll abandon me, you'll leave me. What could be worse than that? I mean, really, what could be worse than that? So that was my anxious attachment style. Never understanding what love really was, never understanding how to be love, never loving myself. Like it never occurred to me to love myself. So this is where our love stories are critically important to us being able to have a life that is aligned with love. Once we really truly understand our love stories, we can rewrite them. That's key. We can rewrite our love stories. That is the best news ever, because we live in a world where thought creates our experience of life. Our thoughts create our reality. From the moment you're born until the moment you take your last breath and transition out of this lifetime, everything that happens to you is filtered through the vehicle of thought. You're aware of it, you think something about it, and then based upon your stories and your beliefs is how you respond or react. You either, it's like with my love story, I was consciously seeking partners constantly, not consciously, constantly seeking partners that were going to validate the love story that I had. So I picked partners. My very first husband cheated on me, and I found out when our second daughter was 4 days old. And I found out that he had this beautiful girlfriend that was 3 months pregnant with his baby. I didn't consciously choose someone that was going to be unfaithful, but I did energetically attract someone into my world that validated those beliefs and those stories. And so as I got older, I continued the cycles, the toxic cycles. And it wasn't until I changed my thinking, my perception of what was going on, my perspective, that everything changed. When I got older, I literally had a divine intervention where I heard enough. And for the first time in my life, I was able to step back and say, whoa, I'm the common denominator. I am the common denominator. Not all of this is happening to me. This is happening because of my thoughts, my beliefs, and my choices. I have created this. I've chosen the partners that I've chosen. I have done this, and I can change. I can do it differently, and I can start today. And that is what happened to me. And I did such a deep dive into what my love stories were so I could unravel them, and then I could rewrite them. And I went to work on falling in love with myself. And I understood what energy was. And I understood what choices I always had. We always have infinite possibilities and infinite choices on how we're going to either react or respond to any given situation. And so from that moment forward, my whole life began to change. And my mission was to rewrite those stories. Like, oh, what is love really? If you didn't watch yesterday's video, I encourage you to go back as soon as we're done here and watch it, because I talk about what love is really. And when I started to see that, and then I took it a step further and I recognized that I am love, that like I'm a human that is created, like I come from love, I return to love, like I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. When I really let that sink in, then it was like, oh my gosh, I am made of love. Innately, I am love. I am whole. I am lovable. So are you. We all are. And do we have different things that we can change about ourselves? Always. Always. There's every day that you wake up and open your eyes is a new opportunity to do it better than you did yesterday, to learn from our mistakes, to forgive ourselves. That's part of the self-love that we're going to get into during this 29 days. We're going to go deep into self-love. I'm going to give you exercises that you can do that are really like daily things that you can practice that will help you fall in love with yourself. That's going to help you change. I'm going to help you rewrite your love stories. So I would love to know what you think about this. If you could leave me comments. I'm really, really dedicated to making this Facebook group very engaged, very interactive. So I'd love to answer any questions that you have. So please drop them in the comments and join me again tomorrow. You can always check out my website if you want more information, trudystoner.com. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about a little bit deeper into the energetics of this. And I'm going to talk about conscious love. Like, what does it mean to really understand what love is? Like, kind of marrying what we talked about day 1 and day 2. Like, what's that next level? How do I fall deeply in love with myself so that I can create a love that or a life that I really, really love, and I can align with it energetically? And why is that important? So that's what we're going to go into tomorrow. I hope this was helpful. I appreciate you joining me live. And if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you doing that too. Just leave me a comment so I know you were here. And then I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, so I'm going to go live at 9 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So during the week, 12 p.m. on most days. If there's something, I'll always announce it. But tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I hope to see you there. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.